The new NBA and MLB season is in full swing, and BetOnline has you covered with the best odds and biggest promotions and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. Head to BetOnline today to stay updated on all the action. BetOnline, the game starts here.
If you're looking to streamline your audio advertising buys and maximize your revenue, look no further than Triton Digital's programmatic audio advertising exchange, A2X. The private exchange consists of only licensed broadcasters and top-tier internet radio publishers, assuring the quality inventory and brand safety you can trust. Visit www.tritondigital.com to learn more.
The love of frozen treats is as old as civilization itself. Early Persians and Romans sweetened ice and snow with fruit juice to satisfy their cravings. The ancient Chinese would cool off with a frozen mixture of milk and rice. For centuries, people around the world have found countless ways to enjoy a cold dessert. By the 1950s, the invention of freezers allowed the masses to store frozen goods and led to the birth of a very sweet new industry. And in 1978, when a college dropout and a medical school reject started a quirky new brand, that industry was turned upside down. Their frozen concoctions with punny names and unusual flavor profiles would not only win over the taste buds of millions and make the founders very wealthy, they would allow them to work on their mission to make the world a better place. So for all of those reasons, and because I scream, and you scream, and we all scream for ice cream, that's why this week's On Brand is on Ben & Jerry's.
We're all jazzed up, nearly having a cow. You want your favorite show, and it's on right now. It's on brand.
Welcome to On Brand with Jon and Marisa.
I'm Jon.
I'm Marisa. Jon, ooh. Ben and Jerry's. I'm excited.
I thought you'd get a little creamy over this.
Boy, I'm creaming. I love Ben and Jerry's. I love ice cream in general, and Ben and Jerry's is, gotta say, probably my favorite pint in the aisle.
Is it?
It is.
Well, I know that you're a big ice cream person, and I was a little concerned about doing an ice cream. Our listeners probably don't know, so I'll just go ahead and fill them in. Marissa may be a little upset about this because if you're not from Los Angeles, as I'm sure you're aware, there's many different neighborhoods. The neighborhood that I live in, which is right adjacent to the neighborhood Marissa lives in, over the years has been deemed the Cone Zone.
Was that an official term, or did we deem that?
It was in an online article about my neighborhood, calling Los Feliz the Cone Zone. So at the time, every week, my neighborhood was getting an artisanal ice cream shop popping up. And Marissa would be so mad that she would have to come into my neighborhood to get it. And I kept telling her, you have a Rally's. You have a McDonald's. They both serve ice cream. And then we would get like McConnell's. We got Jenny's from Ohio.
Yes.
We've had them all. We just got a new one, actually, too.
I know. Luckily, I do have like a little corner store where I can get like a Snickers ice cream bar and a pinch. Or I can get a pint, and that will scratch the itch.
That's fun.
But something about your little every block, a Sunday shop just really rankled me.
I know. We do have a Pinkberry, too, which I'm not a big fan of. But...
I love Pinkberry.
So it made sense for me to do this. I don't know if you know, my first 3 jobs in life were in ice cream. The first one was at Uzzie's Ice Cream and Food Stuff.
What kind of stuff?
Just stuff. Just random stuff. This was my first
like
job.
Like pens or like what?
Just food stuff. No, food stuff, not pens. Like your hot dogs and your,
I see.
hamburgers and things like that. It was run by lesbians, which
now
now it doesn't seem like a big deal, but back then it was like, wow, okay, we're very progressive here. Then I moved on to Mickey's Dairy Treat, which was a very cute little ice cream stand right next to like a baseball field. Like on the weekends, like kids would come and play baseball, and that was a lot of fun. And then my last one was
like seeing those little leaguers coming in, fresh from a big game, trotting in their tight little pants.
And then my last one was at All American Yogurt.
I hit a home run, Uncle Johnny, which you made them call you. Surely that deserves a free scoop. What was the last one?
Now, the fun thing about All-American Yogurt was, and I probably told this on pod before, that was in high school. So not only did I steal from them an insane amount, which was terrible.
Wait, money?
Listen, I don't know how long. Like, I don't know if they can come after me, so I'm just going to leave it as I just stole.
Okay.
I had keys to the shop, so I would stop by there on the way to school and get a snack and whatever I may need.
Oh, so you're stealing like merchandise?
I mean, I helped myself.
You were slipping a little from the register?
Well, here's the thing. At that place, so I was a vampire at the time. I had both of my ears pierced as vampires do. And it was called All-American Yogurt. So they frowned upon that.
I can't even believe you got the job, to be honest.
I know. It's so funny. I had to wear, I wish I still had it. I'm shocked that I don't. Our name tag was a wooden teddy bear with like our name. You know how like they write your name with like dots and like very craft country. That. But because I had both of my ears pierced.
You put little fangs on the teddy bear. A little drop of blood from the bear's tooth.
A little jam. That would have been so cute.
That'd be cute. I can't believe you don't still have that name tag.
I know. I'm shocked. Hopefully I'll come across it in my parents' garage.
I'm sure.
But because I had both of my ears pierced and they thought that was very off-brand for them, they made me every shift cover both of my earrings with Band-Aids. So all the customers...
so gross.
It's so much more gross to have two dirty little Band-Aids on your ears and to have everyone think, like, what's happened to your ears? Like,
flesh-colored Band-Aids, is there a worse idea? It's like, you're not fooling anybody.
Everybody knows. Though,
everybody knows.
Band-Aid, I do celebrate. In the last few years, I've seen that they have made multicolored, skin-colored bandages.
Honestly, so everybody can have a disgusting skin-colored Band-Aid.
Right.
That is the definition of equality. I think because you're not tricking anybody into thinking that there's no wound.
Well, I don't think they're trying to. I don't think it's like, I'm perfect. I have never been in an accident.
And that material that Band-Aids are made of, that like the fabric, it just gets so brown on the edges. It curls up as the adhesive begins to decay. It's just, I don't know. I find Band-Aids really gross. But I think the patterned Band-Aids are less gross because to me it like distracts from
it's like an accessory.
Exactly.
Now, I will say, I did jump on all the clear crazes, and I did used to love a clear Band-Aid. I don't even know if they still make those. They probably do.
I'm sure they do.
But
did you ever wear jellies? You like clear? You ever wear jellies? Because talk about like you what you hope it is versus what it actually is. You think it's like going to be a clear little like Cinderella shoe. Turns out it's like a yellowed, sweaty piece of plastic, like filling with sweat and blood from blisters.
God, I never wore jellies. I'm only laughing because I know myself so well, and that is so off-brand for me.
It really is.
Both my sisters wore jellies, and talk about a stink bomb, man. Those things smell.
You see like a little 6-year-old, you're like, well, surely your feet don't stink. And it's like, oh boy, that's a stinky tootsie.
It's like those Disney cartoons. They take off their shoe and like a cloud of skull stank rises up.
Of green smell.
So yeah, I was really good at ice cream. I got to admit, I did the dip in cones where you like dip it in the, I think we had like butterscotch, chocolate, and maybe strawberry.
Yum.
You can't have your soft serve be too soft, then it's a disaster. I made really intense malts for myself. It'd be like half malt, half ice cream.
Yeah, you have a really strange thing with malt.
I love malt.
Like, you're the only person I know who's ever like, you've like found bulk malt. Did you need like an ice cream shop license, like an EIN that like was an ice cream shop to be able to even buy malt?
Yeah, I had to buy an ice cream truck and get a license, pull up in the back, and they just put like, you can only buy it in a barrel.
Yeah, right.
No, they actually still, you can get it at Target, but I'm always waiting for it to go away. I assume I'm one of maybe 3 people that buy malt.
Definitely.
Oh, and have you ever worked in ice cream?
No.
So you've never made a waffle cone?
No.
You like a waffle cone?
I love a waffle cone. The smell, intoxicating.
Of course. It like, again, a Disney cartoon, like that little hand is like going outside the store and dragging people in with its finger.
It's the smell of Disneyland. Because down Main Street, is this fact or folly?
I think this is fact. I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, it's that they pump waffle cone out into the streets to lure you into the confectionaries.
love being manipulated by a corporation. I think they do that at movie theaters too. I think they pump out like the smell of like buttered popcorn.
I love when a scent gets pumped.
Oh my gosh. It does remind me of those cartoons where someone always has like that seems like you would have a freshly baked pie on your windowsill.
Yeah. And little John sneaking around the bushes to try to steal my cooling pie.
Trying to get just one slice of your pie.
You like to steal. Have you ever stolen a pie from a windowsill?
I haven't. I wish I had.
Honestly, the reason why you haven't is because it hasn't come up.
Honestly, I feel like I would feel too bad knowing that someone spent so much time making that pie to steal it.
Yeah, it depends on how good the person was who made it.
Yeah.
If they were medium to bad, I think you could take it.
If they were medium to bad, I could take it. Definitely. All I was going to say about waffle cones, just to button that up, is as a kid, making waffle cones was one of the most painful experiences of my life. You literally had to pour this thin little waffle, take it off the scalding hot waffle maker, and then hand wrap it around this piece of plastic. Like you lost your fingerprints. It was so hot. So next time you're chomping on a cone with your kiddies at all your parties and fairs this year, just know that there's a lot of pain involved in that cone.
Mm-hmm. Think of the blood of teens.
Yeah, think of the blood of teens.
Sacrifice their tips for that cone.
All right, well, I'm just going to go ahead and jump into the show because I have 1.5 extra pages of notes than I normally do.
Hours. I have 1.5 hours on Ben and Jerry.
I mean, we probably do.
Oh, we could. Days, weeks.
For a little peek behind the scenes, when it's my turn to do a pod, I usually come with about 7 pages of notes. This one I have 9, but one of those is like the history of ice cream, which I don't think I'm going to get into that much. But speaking of which, let's get into the history of ice cream. But just a little bit. I'm just going to hit some bullet points.
Give us a taste.
I'm going to give you one sample taste.
A little lick.
A little lick on the history of ice cream. So 1777, the first newspaper ad for ice cream hits the U.S. 1777. We've only been a country for a year.
Yeah, I was going to say, this feels like 1776 is America, right?
Yeah. Good. Yes. 1777, first ice cream ad. I found the ad. I'll put it in my supplemental material. It's very hard to read. I don't know. It was back.
What was an ad then? They had like quills, right?
No, they had newspaper.
Oh, okay.
It was like it was this guy named Philip Lindsay who announced, again, I tried to read it to understand it. When I see people write about it, they say he's announcing that ice cream is going to be available to the public almost every day. But when you read it, it's like all the S's look like F's and like everything's weird. And I don't know exactly.
This would be like me if I was in charge of a country. It's like we become a country. Day 1, day 2, ice cream available to all citizens starting today.
All those deaths were worth it. Didn't we tell you this was going to be a better place?
That's awesome.
So get this. In 1790... according to a log that was found, George Washington spent $200 on ice cream in the summer of 1790. Just to give you...
Wait, in one summer?
One summer.
Okay.
Just to give you perspective, that would be like someone today spending over $6,800 on ice cream. 6,800. I could see you doing that because you have kids and it's expensive.
My favorite president for that reason.
I mean, I guess if you have bone teeth and you can eat more ice cream.
Maybe that's it.
I guess that's it.
That rules.
Good for him. No wonder he was number 1. The 1870s, ice cream sodas come around. Oh, this one's kind of fun. So people were having ice cream sodas. In the 1890s, religious criticism for eating these sinfully rich ice cream sodas on Sundays led to merchants leaving out the carbonated water, the least sinful part of it, and creating what they called sundaes, because it's Sunday, which became ice cream with toppings, which would eventually become a sundae. You're dead.
Oh my God, I'm dead.
You're dead. I love killing you with these facts.
I can't handle that.
That's good,
wild.
Right? I know.
That's really good.
I thought that was fun.
Unbelievable. You know what? Turn the show off now. You got your fact.
Yeah, your barbecues are set. And every time you have a Sunday, thank God. Thank God you have that Sunday.
God. Wow, that's incredible.
Then I'm just going to jump to the 50s. You've got diners and like Howard Johnson. If you remember, Howard Johnson's at the time was a huge, like when you're traveling, like stop for food. Hojo. They sold over 5 billion ice cream cones. The 60s and 70s, ice cream moves into the home. People are buying it at grocery stores. The 80s, we hit the premium and super premium ice cream, which is what we're going to be talking about today.
Yes.
And then the 2000s through now, you've got like very fancy ice cream shops, artisanal ice creams, and all of that. So there's a 5-minute rundown on the history of ice cream.
Wow, ice cream is just, I mean, I could talk about ice cream for days.
Oh, well, I hope at least for an hour.
It's just like, there's so much there.
Walk me through it, babe. What are you feeling?
Well, just saying super premium and premium. Do you remember as a kid, like, we didn't always get like the fancy ice cream. We would sometimes get like the cheaper one in like the big tub.
The one that had, we would get the one that had the three flavors, and I would dig out everything but chocolate. I love strawberry. I'd start with strawberry, then go to vanilla and leave chocolate.
That is an unusual order.
Yeah.
I feel like strawberry is usually the one left behind.
I love a strawberry ice cream.
That's interesting. Yeah,
But yeah, you would get tubs. They would be like, sometimes we get ice cream or sherbet literally in these giant plastic buckets
It was
with
like
a
a bucket,
handle.
yeah.
Or like these huge like squares, like cardboard squares.
Yes, they were packed in cardboard. We would sometimes get the little plastic individual cups that came with like a paper spoon. And it was very cheap ice cream, but it was very fun too.
It got the job done.
We kind of dabbled in like the really cheap stuff, and then eventually, you indulge in like a premium pint.
I remember if it was my choice, I would get Haagen-Dazs because it was something about, I mean, this is probably in high school. I was already watching Days of Our Lives. I already envisioned like a fancier life than I was living. And I would walk to Kroger and treat myself to a pint of Haagen-Dazs.
You, in your cape, after school, having watched Days of Our Lives, stepping out into the hot Ohio sun and walking to Kroger to get a Haagen-Dazs.
Hissing the whole way because I'm not supposed to be in the sun.
This is just like...
Oh, is there anything better than picturing a young me coming home, taking off my school clothes, throwing on a cape, and swishing down to get a cone?
Oh, that's just the best. That's so fun.
Yeah, they were good times.
Hi, this is Chris Howard, host of Plugged In with Chris Howard. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. With the largest selection of odds on everything from Major League Baseball, NHL, and UFC, and professional golf, BetOnline remains the number one source for all your sports wagering info. In between games, head over to the BetOnline's casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Well, why don't we go ahead and get into the boys?
Let's do it.
As I'm assuming you could figure out, we've got a Ben, we've got a Jerry, we've got Ben Cohen and Jerry Greenfield, known at least by them as the Abbott and Costello of ice cream.
Cute.
Some of these references, I'm wondering if everyone gets anymore. Like, I would assume there's definitely people listening to our show that, I'm sure there's a million that do, but there's definitely someone who's like, who's Abbott and Costello?
Based on some of the Instagram profile pictures, some of our listeners are on the younger side. They predate Abbott and Costello as a reference.
For sure. All right, so you've got Ben and Jerry. They meet in 1963 in Long Island, New York. They meet in 7th grade gym class. They're running the track. They're both...
I need a movie. I need a Ben and Jerry's movie. I need one yesterday, honey.
From the first sentence?
Yes. I'm thinking of these two little... They sound Jewish.
They're Jewish.
Yeah, okay, so in my mind, they're Jewish. These two little Jewish kids in gym class.
It's perfect.
It's perfect.
They were the chubbiest kids in class.
Oh, God.
They were the slowest kids in class.
Wow.
So they're going around this track. The coach is yelling at them, trying to get them to go faster. Apparently, Ben was the ballsier of the two and yells back to the coach, "We're doing the best we can." Jerry is...
This is you and me.
This is you and me.
Because we both did poorly in gym class.
Yeah, I was terrible at it. I would do the pull-up bar and just hang. Like, I had no arm strength to pull myself up. I couldn't even do the thing where when I went to school, they would let the girls just like hold themselves up.
Yeah.
And the boys had to do pull-ups.
pull-ups.
But I couldn't even do the hold up. I just like hung.
Oh my God. According to my PE teacher, I had my period 4 weeks out of the month.
You know, I think they were right.
Maybe you and me can play Ben and Jerry in the movie.
I've...
With a little movie magic.
Yeah, we're going to need some AI. AI has come around at just the right time. So Jerry really liked that Ben yelled back at the gym teacher. He thought that was super cool. There was one story that said Jerry fainted during this, and Ben thought that was really cool. When you start to read some of these histories, it's so funny how, like, if you find, like, an original article that was written, like, within a year, you get a lot more facts. And then, like, 40 years later, you're reading at the website, and that has been, like, boiled down to, the most basic, like, what works for our profile.
You can't trust the company website. You have to go to Wikipedia. You find one funny thing on Wikipedia. Then you go down to the article that's citing that line. And then you find, like, so much more detail. But it has to be within, like, a year of the actual incident.
It's funny how it changes over time.
We are keeping these stories alive.
Yeah, and I feel like bringing them back to what the truth.
Exactly.
As close to the truth
We're
as we
truth
can get them.
seekers.
Oh, and I love the story that they tell. So they would talk about being seniors, and they would drive around and cruise and listen to music on Sunrise Highway, which was the drag in Long Island. And they're like, we were still chubby boys. So we weren't even like cruising for girls. They would literally cruise the strip, looking at all the fast food restaurants, dreaming of trying them all.
Oh, God.
So you just have these two chubby Jewish kids like, oh, one day.
Arby's.
We're going to get Arby's.
What's in there, man?
5 for $5. Bro, you got $2.50?
Wow, that's incredible.
So they just love food. They love talking about food, dreaming about it. They had dreams of opening their own restaurant one day. But of course, life gets in the way. They go to college. They go to different colleges. Ben ends up dropping out. He has multiple jobs. He's a cab driver. He's a short order cook, a social worker, a craft teacher. His passion had become pottery. So he's taking pottery classes.
Wow.
He's trying to sell his pottery at craft fairs. Nobody wants it.
I would love a Ben pot.
Nobody else did. Nobody else did.
I would kill for somebody to say, like, what's that weird, ugly pot? Me to go, that was made by Ben from Ben and Jerry.
I actually would like a Ben
That'd
pot,
be so
too.
fun.
Maybe we'll reach out to him after the pod.
Yeah. Give us your ugliest pots.
So he's making pots that nobody wants. Jerry finishes college and he's working as a lab technician with dreams of being a doctor.
Oh my
we see this
God.
a lot in the boys that we talk
Wow.
about on
Quite
our show.
studious.
He applies to several medical schools and is rejected by all of them.
Okay. This just goes to show you never know where your fortune lies.
You never know where your fortune lies. So they both have these jobs that they kind of hate, but they're fun people. And they're like, you know what? Maybe it's time we do this. Maybe you remember how we used to cruise the strip and talk about it? Let's go into business together.
This is fun.
So the only issue is, one, they don't have any business experience. And two, they don't know what business to go into.
That didn't stop us from starting a podcast.
And look at us now. Look at us now. We've recorded 3 podcasts in 4 days and made $0. So they said the only thing they cared about was that no matter what they did, they would enjoy themselves. And they're quoted as saying, we were pretty much up for anything. It was bound to be a great time. Whatever happened, we had nothing to lose. What a great attitude.
I love that.
Only at that age do you. It's hard to have that attitude as life starts to get more complicated.
At our age.
At your age. You have children. For me, it's a little easier. We're a couple of single pals. But, you have a family and a mortgage.
Uh-huh.
So they do research and they learn that both bagel shops and ice cream parlors were on the rise in big cities. So obviously, they picked bagels. They decided that they were going to open a bagel shop. They go and price out the equipment that they would need to make bagels, and it comes out to about $40,000,
Wow.
which is $211,000 today.
That's a lot of dough.
That's a lot of dough. Both bagel and chocolate chip cookie. We'll get to that later.
This is exciting.
So ice cream it is. So again, they have no business experience and no ice cream experience.
Yeah.
How did we already know how this story ends.
How did they get there?
How did we get there? I guess they had a little bit of ice cream experience. Ben was actually a good humor man in high school, and Jerry passed out ice cream at his school cafeteria.
Don't think that counts as ice cream experience.
He also said that he witnessed his father eat a lot of ice cream.
Okay, yeah. I don't know how much that translates to like the craft of ice cream making, but sure.
All right, but they're not deterred. So now they know what they're going to do. They need to figure out where they're going to do it. And they had 2 criteria for this. One, it had to be a place that wasn't too cold so sales wouldn't dry up in the winter. And 2, it needed to be by a college town that would ensure that they had potential for a lot of customers.
Wow, smart.
Now, remember, obviously there's no Google at the time. So they're literally like looking through maps, trying to figure out where they should put this business. They come across Saratoga Springs, New York. It's right next to Skidmore College, which is a woman's college, which they both obviously like the idea of. So they move there, they get an apartment, start scouting, and immediately find another ice cream parlor was already under construction, and they didn't think that the town could support 2.
Wow.
So they pulled out.
Not a cone zone.
No, it was already. No,
well, it couldn't support 2. Your neighborhood can apparently support 12.
Oh, man, you're so mad. I'm so sorry I did this to you. You're doing this whole episode just
I'm
seething.
humiliated.
You're humiliated. What a dumb place to buy a house. So then they look at the maps again. They notice Burlington, Vermont, which definitely does not fit the first criteria. As we all know, Vermont winters quite chilly.
Yes.
But it's a prosperous area, has a rapidly growing community, and a number of local colleges that Jerry thought was in desperate need of good ice cream.
Wow.
So they decide to chance it. All right, so let's put ourselves there. It's autumn 1977. Autumn in Vermont. Is there, honestly,
God.
I've never even been, but I know there's no better place to be.
I have been, and you are right. There is no better place to be than
the leaves
autumn
changing,
in Vermont.
That smell. Someone in the distance has lit the first fire in their fireplace.
Oh my God, stop. It's making me, tomorrow is literally the first day of summer, and now I am dreaming of autumn in Vermont.
I have sweat in the bend of my arm right now. The middle of my arm is clammy.
You would love Vermont because there's always a crisp in the air.
Yeah. It's made to be a Yankee Candle scent.
Oh my God. It's like living inside a Yankee Candle.
All right. So it's autumn 1977. And as I like to put it into perspective, we're exactly 20 years away from Titanic being released.
Which even that is the 70s to the 90s, 20 years. That shocks me every time.
Actually, now that I think about it, more shocking than that is Star Wars has been out for 3 months at this point.
Wow.
Wow, what a time to be alive. That's 3 months
huge.
After Star Wars and 20 years before Titanic.
What a time to be alive.
Something that you're so excited about right now and something to look forward to
and
for so
you don't
long.
even know what you got. Yeah. Titanic is just a glimmer in old James Cameron's eye.
Yeah. Okay, so now they know what they're making. They know where they're making it. They just need to figure out how they're making it.
Great question. How
Perfect
to make
question.
ice cream
How do we
without
do it?
Google.
Not even that. Where to make the ice cream first. So first, they want to figure out how much money they have. They decide they need about $20,000, which is a little over $100,000 today.
Wow, okay.
That
That's
seems
not nothing.
Reasonable.
Yeah.
They probably read that in so you want a business book.
Yeah.
Jerry's able to come up with $4,000.
Okay.
Ben's able to come up with $2,000
Okay.
and get his dad to put in $2,000.
Nice.
And then they try to go to the bank to get a loan for the rest, but the bank would only give them a loan for $4,000. So they're going into this with $12,000. Mm-hmm. Not a lot, but they do a little scouting and they find a very run-down old gas station / garage.
Okay.
The roof is falling apart. There's light coming through it. It's just old. It's 1940 style gas station. And they're like, you know what? I think we can make this work. Mm-hmm. We'll do most of the work by hand. Cute. They feel like that'll lend to this whole homemade vibe that they're already kind of picturing this endeavor being.
Yeah.
So they go about doing repairs themselves. They joked at the time that they didn't even have enough money to have chairs around the whole table. Each table may have had a chair or whatever.
No chairs.
No chairs. You just had to lean against the table. So this was all great. Now they knew where they were going to make it, but they still didn't know how to make ice cream.
This is a huge part of the process.
I know. It's so funny to me. They're like, well, where should we live? What building should we do it in? Oh, right. Now we need to make this stuff.
That's inspiring because I think a lot of people might get discouraged from starting an ice cream shop because they're thinking, I don't know the first thing about making ice cream. You don't have to. Figure it out.
I mean, I don't like to make it about us so much, but a lot of people don't know this. When we first started doing this podcast, we would just sit and talk. We didn't even know you needed microphones. And then one day Al walked by and he was like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, we're making the 5th episode of our
because
pod.
we knew where we were going to do it, my dining table.
Right.
We knew what it was going to be about, brands. But we didn't know how to do it. That's right. That's where Al came in.
And thank God Al walked by that day looking all buff. And he's like, here, I have a suggestion. He puts these microphones in front of us, and here we are.
Oh my gosh, we figured it out. Which one of us is Ben and which one's Jerry?
How's your sense of smell?
Great.
You're Jerry.
What's Ben known for? Besides his shitty pots.
You'll see. I'm Ben. I don't want to be Ben. I'm Hoda. All right, so the boys realize they need to figure out how to make ice cream. They take a correspondence course in commercial ice cream making.
Ooh.
I mean, perfect.
Perfect.
Who knew that there was a class that perfect?
I might pivot to that field.
It's at Pennsylvania State University's Creamery.
Okay.
And it is the hottest place to learn how to make ice cream on the East Coast.
Oh,
the
wow.
alumni from this place is a who's who.
John Dreyer.
Basically,
Tom Breyer.
yeah, Stacy Baskin and Jerry Robbins. It's all of them. It says there's representatives from Baskin Robbins, Borden, Dreyer's Good Humor,
Oh my God.
Haagen-Dazs, Dairy Queen, Nestle, just to name a few.
Wow.
How did they afford this?
How?
It was $5. The class cost $5. I put in parentheses, that's $30 today. It's the cost of 2 Chipotle meals.
To learn what you need to know to become a $1 billion ice cream brand.
Yeah, so for everyone who's like, I just need to save up some money before I follow my dream. No, you can do it.
Did they still offer that course for $30?
It's less now. Now it's $1. Every 10 years it goes down $1.
Wow, that's awesome.
No, but they do still have it. I looked it up. It looks
I'm taking it. I'm fleeing, leaving my family.
It's a correspondence class. You don't have to flee.
Great.
You can do it here.
I might flee anyway.
Mar? They joke that their exams were open books, so they easily got straight A's. So Jerry becomes the one that makes ice cream for 2 reasons. One, he's basically a scientist, and he understands the whole chemistry of it. And 2, as I mentioned or alluded to, Ben has a very bad sense of smell, which I did not know means that you usually have very bad sense of taste
Oh, yes.
as
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So he can't taste this stuff. So Jerry is working on making ice creams, and he makes this whole game of it, which becomes kind of a big part of this story. Is he tries to create flavors that Ben could taste and identify with his eyes closed.
That is so funny.
So that's why they have like big chunks of things and
Wow.
like bold flavors. It was because
The
this
crazy
guy
mix-ins.
basically had a handicap.
So he can taste it a little bit, right?
I'm assuming.
But like if he's chomping into like a big caramel filled chocolate fish in fish food, that like stimulates his taste buds more than just maybe like a smooth cream.
Right.
Wow,
I
this is
truly
interesting.
don't know what you just said. If he's chomping on a big pile of caramel fish through fish food.
Fish food, Fish the band is an iconic,
The ice cream.
iconic ice cream flavor.
Of course it is.
Remember, we are talking about Ben & Jerry's ice cream, so
Babe,
everything we say is through that filter.
To be fair, through you, it could be anything. I was like, why is he eating a fish?
Well, it was on the tip of the dome because fish food is my favorite Ben & Jerry's flavor.
Okay, fair enough.
Al was confused too.
Were you confused? You didn't know either, right? Okay,
Wow.
good. At least I'm not the only
He can't
one.
eat ice cream. It's too cold on his teeth.
No, Al has said many times, I don't like ice cream. It's too cold on my teeth. But then he had ice cream in the last 6 months, and he's like, oh, I like ice cream.
Well, he just needs to lick and not bite.
Yeah, babe, you just got to learn how to lick more. I can teach you.
Spend a few hours at John's College of Lickery.
No, me.
It costs $1 a month.
$5 for a 5-year subscription to my lickery. Oh my God, I do want to teach him at John's School of Lickery
I
instead
think
of
you
witchcraft and wizardry. Ice cream and lickery. All right, so Jerry would say once you know the basic principles of making ice cream, it becomes really fun because you get to focus on the creative side of it and playing with ingredients and flavors and seeing how they work. The other thing that they were doing at the time that no other ice cream places were really doing is they were using like only natural ingredients. They were sourcing locally. They were using Vermont cream and butterfat and flavorful chunks of nuts and cookies and fruits and candies. And we take all of this so for granted at this point. I mean, you can find every kind of ice cream now, but like we were talking a minute ago, like at the time, aside from now Haagen-Dazs, which is entering the scene, it was like vanilla, it was like butter pecan. Yeah. There was a handful.
Chocolate chip.
So
like the biggest like mix-in you might have at that time is maybe like a ribbon of something or a nut or a chocolate chip.
Yeah. So this is very different.
And you could, in a pint of like Ben and Jerry's, there's sometimes like a whole Oreo in there.
Oh my God.
Do you love when there's like a whole cookie?
Anytime I find like a defect from like a factory food, like a Dorito that's just been pummeled with powder, I feel like I'm getting away with something because I know that it was supposed to be picked out during like the
quality control.
Yeah, I know there was someone that had the hairnet on.
They sneezed.
Like,
right as that chip was passing.
They got a text. That thing got through, and then like against all odds, made it to my home. Oh, God, there's nothing better. Wow. So
someone's looking out for you, Jon.
Do I love a whole Oreo in a pint of Ben & Jerry's? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I haven't had yet? You've seen their core.
I was going to say the core. Yeah,
I haven't had their core, which is like a pint of ice cream, but then they just like drill a hole through the middle and put a whole core of either fudge or cheesecake or like some
There's
topping.
a big stick of like, caramel. I like the caramel one.
Yeah.
A big stick of caramel in the middle. And it's that special caramel that stays wet. Somehow, even though, despite it is frozen. How is that possible?
Babe, we're not there yet, but I think I know how it's possible.
Okay.
Not that specifically, but just how much work goes into what they do.
Let's just say I'm glad I'm not driving right now because I would be careening into a median if you tell me how caramel stays wet.
It's not, don't careen just yet. Just pull over.
Okay, I'll pull over. If you're driving, pull over.
Okay, so now they have the what, the where, the how, they're all in place. So the only thing to do is to open.
Wow.
May 5th, 1978, two 27-year-olds, still Ben and Jerry, that's who we're talking about.
Wow, they're young.
I know, right?
Oh,
27 years old.
I bet they were cute.
We'll put up pictures.
I
they're
bet
cute.
They were
they're
cute.
like
they're
what
like
you
dorky
would,
Jewish guys.
They're what you
cute.
would expect. Yeah, they're cute. They open the doors to locals lined up down the street for the grand opening of the first official Ben & Jerry's Scoop Shop. And can I just throw this in? This is May 5th, 1978. We're exactly 1 month away from Gilbert Baker raising the rainbow flag on the other side of the country.
Wow.
I'm just enjoying now that we've done so many of these, kind of tying these points of reference together that we've been doing. All right, so just to give you a visual of what the shop is like, the front window, I don't know if you're going to like this or think this is gross. The front window showed off the 5-gallon White Mountain ice cream machine they found in the New York Times classifieds. When they first opened, they've only come up with 12 flavors, and each batch takes about 30 minutes to make in this old. They wanted to use old technology, even though a lot of the creameries are like kind of pushing, like, here's the more modern way to make ice cream. They wanted to use the salt and all the things and do it the old-fashioned way. As each new batch was done, they would put the dashers. Do you know what the dashers are?
No.
They're the wooden paddles that would like turn and churn the ice cream.
Yes.
Do you remember when I don't know why you stopped doing this. I'm assuming it's because I gained a lot of weight. But when you would make a treat, you would save me the batters. You'd stop doing that.
You know, when I made a pavlova the other day, I had like meringue. No, I had whipped cream on the batter.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was like there was like a party going on. Right. It was like in the middle of a party.
Jon.
But I had made this like sweetened whipped cream that had like it was for the top of a pavlova. And I thought about just coming out to the party and just giving you like a whisk that's covered in whipped cream. But then I was like, I don't know if he'll be like, you think I'm so desperate for cream that I suck on a batter in the middle of a party. And now I feel like you probably would have appreciated it.
Of course.
I'll remember that.
I'm never going to get embarrassed to lick anything at a party.
That's for sure.
And I do have my ice cream and liquor.
That's true. It is a good advertisement for your business.
Well, they would take these dashers, these wooden blades. So when the batch was done, those would be covered in ice cream. They would set those out for the customers to lick.
What?
And this was brought up in a more recent interview.
Wait.
And they were like, listen, it was a different time.
Wait, like communally?
I just picture like a little kid running up and taking a swipe. An old man's like,
Oh
yeah.
my God, like 30 people. Like how big is the batter? I'm imagining
It
it's
only makes 5 gallons, so it's not huge.
Wow.
I
That is
pictured this-
intimate.
Yeah. 30 licks on a board. That community gets to know each other real well.
Quick. It was a simpler time. That is so sweet.
I would love to be alive 3 months after Star Wars, licking a communal board with all my neighbors.
Like a month before the gay flag is revealed.
A month before. I mean, God. Jeez.
If you could time travel to any point in time, I think it might be opening day at Ben & Jerry's in Vermont, licking on a batter.
If only I had been born. If only I had been born. All right. So, and this is so me. They were on such a tight budget when they started. So they would go through like ice cream trade magazines and request samples of different toppings and stuff. That's what they use for their like toppings because they could not afford these things.
Oh my
so they would write Mars and be like, hey, we'd love to try your new whatever, Broken Heath bars. They would get a bag of those and then, okay, now we have Heath bar ice cream.
For like a day.
Yeah.
I mean, you think it would be probably a pretty small amount, but that is so you. Just writing like 200 letters pretending to be a different person.
I could be the same. I mean, they're going to different people, but
That's
I
true,
come up
yeah.
with 200 identities.
Yeah.
Sincerely, John's Lickery.
I love these boys.
We do love Ben and Jerry. So we know Jerry's making the ice cream. What am I doing? What is old Ben doing during this
Well, we
time?
know you can't taste anything.
Can't taste anything.
What are you good at?
Now, we mentioned that they did lose a criteria for location. They are now situated in a place that is going to get cold in the winter. So Ben makes it his mission to come up with things to sell during the winter.
Okay.
His first attempt, crepes. That's not, I mean,
That's not crazy.
We've seen that before at bakeries and ice cream shops.
Sure.
A crepe goes hand in hand. They were not a hit. I don't know what it is with Ben. No one likes his pottery. No one likes his crepes.
He hitched his wagon to the right guy with Jerry.
He really did.
It really could have just been Jerry's ice cream, and let's just say it would be just as successful.
Okay, so his crepes aren't a hit. He also tries sandwiches and soups and lasagna and salads and Belgian waffles and even his pottery again.
Let's put somebody with no functioning taste buds in charge of our winter menu.
The whole menu. All right, so to get back in the store real quick, they had a player piano in the store, which I thought was super cute. Jerry really starts having fun experimenting with flavors. Of course, there's hits and there's misses. He made a flavor called lemon peppermint carob chip.
Oh.
Anytime as a kid I saw
Carob, yeah. That feels very 70s.
Turn around. Like, they would be in those things, like, where you, as a kid you would steal from. Like, there'd be, like, maybe you didn't, but there would be, like, nuts and candies and stuff. And there'd be, like, carob malt balls. And I'm like, I'll have a grape.
I don't even think you can really find carob around anymore.
They probably found out it's quite bad for you.
Yeah.
He made, it was a big miss, honey apple raisin Oreo.
It was like so close to being something else. Like honey apple raisin feels like kind of fine.
I know. And you know why? Because someone was supposed to put walnuts in instead of Oreos. It was a mistake flavor. But they were so poor, they still had to serve it.
Oh my God.
It was a miss. They put up a suggestion board so that people could put their own suggestions out there.
That's really cute.
Some of the suggestions they got, tuna ripple, lobster dig-a-ditch.
No.
Spinach swirl with chocolate chip. I think these are people just being silly.
This is very salt and straw.
Those actually are. Those would be like really expensive
flavors
now. Someone wrote on the board, "Have you done away with mocha chip? My heart is breaking," and left his phone number so they could. That
sounds like you.
100%. Here's my email and phone number. Call me when it's back in stock. Okay, so let me set the scene on this very small but very important story.
Wow.
It's 1984. They come into work, decide to take a look at the suggestion board. There's an anonymous suggestion on it. Something that would change ice cream forever. It simply said, what if you put big gobs of chocolate chip cookie dough in vanilla ice cream?
That's me nearly getting hit by a semi-truck as I veer into another lane.
What if you put giant gobs? I mean, yes.
My mind is beyond blown.
I understand. We are so used to having cookie dough ice cream now. It has become a flavor that everybody sells.
I don't even know if it ever occurred to me to credit that with a specific brand. Like chocolate chip, mint and chip, cookie dough. These are just flavors. They were invented by no one.
An anonymous suggestion in Vermont to the men of Ben & Jerry's.
Oh my God.
It is now worldwide their most popular flavor.
Do you think there was some lady who that started picking up speed and she started seeing it at the grocery store in 1989 and was like, did I do that? Was that me?
Should I be rich? They're paying with food stamps?
Yeah.
Did I up?
That is crazy.
It's an instant hit in the shop. Obviously, the baker throws in some gobs of cookie dough. They start serving it. People lose their minds over it. And this is what I was saying about when you asked about how do they make a caramel that stays wet, which I do know what you
know
mean.
what I mean.
It's runnier.
It's drippier. It doesn't freeze solid like the rest of the ice cream, yes.
Right. I don't know exactly how they do it, but I will say after they even had this flavor of chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream, it took them 6 years before they could figure out how to pint it and sell it to the masses in the right way for it to be consistently right.
Wow.
To be, I'm sure it had to, with cookie dough, it had to go through different regulations with raw egg and all of that. 6 years they spent on getting that to market. So,
wow, that's interesting. So in a scoop shop, they could have just been adding the cookie dough into the batch of the day. It wouldn't be freezing quite as solid as it would in a grocery store pint.
Right.
Wow.
How it's almost which I've always found kind of annoying is those Cold Stone creameries or those ones where they pretend they're chefs and they're chopping shit in it. I hate that. I also hate the ones where they make it real thin and then roll it into scoops. I find all that stuff so stupid.
I want ice cream, but I want to wait 8 minutes for it.
Yeah. Instead of being dense and creamy, I want it to be thin and crunchy.
Do you like that Cold Stone calls their small, medium, and large? Like it, love it, gotta have it.
They do.
They do, yeah.
God. You didn't live here yet. There used to be a Cold Stone creamery, I think, where Subway is.
I know. I've heard that. Yeah, Subway's still there.
Yeah.
I've heard that used to be a Cold Stone. I like Cold Stone.
Yeah, I know you do. I only had it once in the dumbest of places, Hawaii. I'm in Hawaii. I'm like, well, I guess I'll get a chain ice cream that I don't like for probably 4 times the price.
It's very rich. It has that whatever higher butter fat or something. So I find Cold Stone to be, to me, a like it is plenty. I cannot imagine having a gotta have it of ice cream from Cold Stone.
Or any of the sizes called just throw it away.
Yeah.
Just toss it, just throw it away.
That would be the size you get because you always throw stuff away.
Okay, so now chocolate chip cookie dough is on the scene.
Huge.
Basically, these guys are an overnight success, but they're not making a ton of money. By 1980, they're super popular, but they realize that they're scooping too much. They're making their scoops too big. And they realize that even just going a half an ounce over what it's supposed to be, they kind of just fall flat on making profits.
Wow, that is so funny.
So they're like, what are we going to do? Ben, my time to shine. Ben. Ben steps up and he says, what if we make giant tubs of ice cream that we sell to the local restaurants?
Great.
And then Ben's like, what if we make smaller ones, I don't know, pint-sized ones, and sell them in grocery stores.
Wait, did they invent the pint?
No.
Oh,
but
okay.
he moved them into that scene.
I see.
So, and at this time, I mean, they may have had dreams. I don't know what's in their minds, but they were just selling them to like local mom and pop grocery stores. Yes,
I see. But I'm thinking like the pint of ice cream almost does feel like that hasn't been around forever.
I think I would have to look. Haagen-Dazs might get credit for that. I don't know if someone did it before then, but yeah, back then it used to be like half gallon. Like they look like bricks.
Yes. Wow, this is huge.
Yeah. So Ben, I'm so proud of him.
We knew you'd come through.
We knew you would.
It wasn't lasagna. It wasn't lasagna.
It wasn't your lifelong work of pottery. All you had to do is say, put ice cream in tubs.
I'm going to check out his personal website and see if I can buy a pot.
I love that. Jerry and his crew would like put together these tubs and pints, and Ben himself would drive them around and deliver them in his old VW squareback wagon, joking that he tried to get everywhere before it melted.
Oh, that's cute.
Okay, so with the help of Ben, this officially kind of puts them in the whole manufacturer distribution business, but on a very small scale. They do that long enough. They're like, you know what? Let's go national. Let's just get these in grocery stores around the country.
Wow.
But there is just one problem. Haagen-Dazs.
Those bitches.
They are bitches.
I believe it. We are Haagen-Dazs.
We are Haagen-Dazs. Our name is fake. It is fake. Did you know that?
I have
Everyone
heard that,
knows.
yeah.
All right. So now we've got this chapter is called Ben and Jerry's versus Haagen-Dazs. So these are kind of the first two super premium ice creams headed for the grocery store shelves at this time. And they're very different. You've got Haagen-Dazs, which is like
elitist,
trying to have
snobby.
Yes. Bitches. All right. So we've got these two brands like ready to hit shelves at the same time. Haagen-Dazs is acquired by Pillsbury, and they've already got some shelf space. But they literally go in as Ben & Jerry's is talking to distributors and trying to get their product on the shelves and say to them, if you put Ben & Jerry's on the shelves that we're on, we will no longer sell our product to you. Wow.
Someone can't take the heat.
I know. And I have family that works at Pillsbury, and I'm sorry, but I mean, this is the story. I love you and I love what you do, but
that is a real bitchy move.
Pillsbury was being kind of a bitch. And Ben and Jerry was like, we can't beat a $4 billion company. We're a couple of like hippies in Vermont. So they take their case to the people and come up with a campaign called What's the Doughboy Afraid of? They plaster this on buses. They put it in newspapers. They get this whole campaign going.
Oh, that's really good branding.
They put an 800 number on their packaging. And if customers called that number, there'd be a message from Ben and Jerry explaining the situation. They would get a free bumper sticker sent to them, which just spreads the word more. And they could buy a t-shirt with the little slogan, What's the Doughboy Afraid of?
Oh my God. eBay. I need
eBay.
it.
Gotta get one. On quick searches, I couldn't even find pictures of it on the bus, but there's definitely enough stories about it that I know that it's true. It becomes
so
like this whole David and Goliath story in the media. Pillsbury backs down because they're getting so much bad press from it. And Ben and Jerry's is distributed across the country.
Well, and they're different brands. Like the brands are so different that there are people who are always going to be Haagen-Dazs people.
Right. But this is so new at the time. They don't know that. They just see it's a company that sees competition.
Wow.
And so they're like, no. So just to kind of give a couple of bullet points, they get on the store shelves by 1987, which is 9 years after they started. They're a $30 million empire, and they're in 35 states. By 1994, when I stepped down as CEO, Ben, they're at $150 million.
Wow.
So it's pretty crazy. And I don't go too much into this, but something that's been ingrained with this brand is their activism. Ben and Jerry have a ton of causes that they're involved with, and they have tons of systems in place that designates money from the company that goes to everything from racial justice to fair trade and pay equality and LGBTQ+, and we all know I'm the G in that, rights, climate issues, and just like a ton of really good things.
They're good guys.
They're good guys. So in 2000...
Haagen-Dazs, however, donates to like animal cruelty.
They send chunks of coal to children at the holidays. In 2000, Unilever acquires Ben & Jerry's for $326 million.
Amazing.
For some reason, Ben got like $36 million and Jerry got like $9 million. I don't know, like maybe
What?
I don't know why that was divided up that way, but
Wait, is Jerry? So you said Ben retired. Did Jerry retire, or did Jerry stay involved in the company?
They both like had titles in the company after this
Interesting.
acquisition. They were very worried about how the activism stuff would be played out because that was one of the most important things to them.
Yeah.
They even put in the contract that after Unilever acquired them, there had to be an independent board of directors to protect Ben & Jerry's brand equality and integrity.
Wow.
And they're responsible for the whole social mission thing and the integrity and their policies. They even are able to get involved in basic things like wage setting in the factories, and Unilever can only have like 2 seats. So it's like, it seemed like it was a good setup and
That's
like
cool.
kind of appeased them. And I think that is why we still see activism with this brand.
Yes, it's very much still part of their brand, for sure.
Unilever did just announce this year, just a couple months ago, that they are spinning off Ben & Jerry's, so it will go to a new home. Nobody knows where that will be yet. Of course,
Perhaps we could acquire it.
I saw an article that was like, here are the 6 people I think should acquire Ben & Jerry's. The first one was like Leonardo DiCaprio, I think. Like he is invested in all these other brands and like he likes to like have a good mission, and we think he should be the one
Wow.
to do it.
I would love to be able to buy Ben & Jerry's knowing I was supporting Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right?
Anything to get closer to Leo.
Anything, because he could probably get us to Matt Damon.
Well, yeah.
And there's your movie.
And Titanic. I mean, Leo, come on, forget about it.
So that's kind of the story. I have a few more like fun things I'm going to see if I can get through before we bore everyone to death. I realized, I feel like we haven't had a game in a while.
Okay, we'll brainstorm some games.
No, I have one.
Oh, okay.
I've got a game.
You brainstormed.
I brainstormed alone.
Oh, great.
So I'm going to present to you 5 Ben & Jerry's flavors.
Uh-huh.
You have to tell me if I made it up or if they're real flavors.
Okay, great. You're right. We haven't done a game like this in a while.
Yeah.
Okay, this is great.
And I'm not going to tell you till the end which ones you got right.
Okay.
Okay. So the first one is called Jelly Donut. This was a 2000 flavor, a Simpsons tie-in for the Simpsons movie. It was a powdered sugar flavored ice cream with raspberry jelly ribbon and glazed donut pieces.
Real.
The next one is called Somewhere Over the Rainbow Sorbet, a 2013 limited edition flavor for the Wizard of Oz's 75th anniversary.
Real.
The third flavor is called Cat and Moose, a Tom and Jerry 2001 tie-in. Ben was scratched out with what looked like cat's claws and replaced with Tom. It was a peanut butter ice cream with a chocolate mousse ribbon and a marshmallow core to resemble a calico cat.
These are all such good ideas. Real. If you're making these up, you should work there.
The fourth one is called Green Eggnog and Ham. This is a 1999 employee contest winners flavor and was only served one time at the 1998 Ben & Jerry's Christmas party. It was a green eggnog frozen custard with maple bacon pieces.
Real. These all have to be real.
The final one is called Sour Candy, a 2020 Lady Gaga charity flavor for First Responder Children's Foundation. It was green melon ice cream with sour cherry ribbon and sour gummy pieces.
Yes, that has to be real.
Are those your final answer?
Yes, that's my final answer. They're all real.
I made up all 5 of those. It took me about 30 minutes yesterday. And I gotta say, I was very proud of them. They all sound so legit.
So legit and so good. The jelly donut. I mean, because
know.
they do things like that. Like they do Americone Dream and they do the late night.
Thank you. This has to reach Ben and Jerry.
You are so good at research and podcasting, and you are even better at making up ice cream flavors.
Fake ice cream
Did
flavors.
you mention that you won an ice cream contest? You mentioned that maybe in a previous episode.
Yes, I did. My friend used to have, we have talked about this because she heard it. She used to have an annual fall ice cream party. And one year I made peanut butter ice cream on a Ritz cracker with strawberry jam, and it was so good.
It sounds
and
so good.
Won
Little
first
ice cream
place that year.
sandwich, a little like salty and sweet. Oh my gosh.
Pretty good.
That's so fun.
I love that you. That's why I didn't want to tell you throughout, because then you would start to figure it out.
That was amazing.
That's amazing. Okay, so I'm going to plow through this really quick because I do think this is interesting, but we didn't really talk about their logo, the cow, which I'm sure you're very familiar with. Iconic, black and white, kind of graphic. So that came about it was created by a Vermont artist named Woody Jackson, who was known at the time as the Cowman. He started painting cows in 1972. And while he was doing that and putting himself through school, like he would work for like local dairies. And he would say like he would be out in the fields and he would see like red barns in the blue sky and silos and these very colorful cornfields. But it was always the cows that like kind of stood out from all of that. They kind of just became these shapes of like black and white.
Yeah.
With,
cows are really cool shaped.
They are. They are very cool shaped. And like fingerprints, no two are exactly alike.
Wow.
So he just got really into them. It became his thing. He gets a call from a guy named Ben. Ben's back,
Ben,
baby.
you're back, baby.
Ben's back. And he's like, yo, Woody, I want to use your cows for this little ice cream company that I have going.
Wow, love that.
So Woody creates a billboard and a t-shirt design for them. The cow becomes their mascot. They name her Woody after the artist. In 1986, they launch a cowmobile. Woody starts making his own t-shirts, cards, and how cute is this? Calendars.
Cowlanders.
Every month is a cow.
I love all these guys. They're so fun and cute.
Get this. At Woody's peak in the early 90s, he had a staff of 25 people helping this whole empire of making these things and was generating almost $2 million a year in sales.
Wow, that is amazing.
He is quoted as simply saying, "The cows have been very, very good to me." And I think he's right.
That's something to moo about.
And then I'm done. I just have a couple of fun facts I'm going to throw out there just because they're fun. Starting with the first anniversary of the Scoop Shop. Every year since then, they have Free Scoop Day. They still do it today. They are now at the point where they give out almost 1 million free scoops every year on that day. I've gone once and the line was really long. And I think it was like a baby-sized scoop. And I was like, I'll come back tomorrow and pay $1. I'm good. A couple of the name suggestions that Jerry had for the company before they picked Ben & Jerry's was Josephine's Flying Machine and Grandma's.
Hazinga avoided.
Yeah, a non-fruition Hazinga.
A near Hazinga.
Only 2 more. The first pints were Oreo mint, French vanilla, chocolate fudge, wild blueberry, mocha walnut, maple walnut, honey coffee, and honey orange. None have survived.
Wow, they sound good.
They do. Maybe they'll bring them back. The last fun fact I'll give you, which I think you'll enjoy, is every employee can have 3 free pints a day.
Oh my God. That is incredibly generous.
A day.
I mean, 1 a day would be like, wow, that's a lot.
Every employee has since died since that policy went into place.
I mean, the price of those pints alone, it's like you're getting an extra like 2 hours worth of work for free.
Oh my God. Cut to me like at Target. No, it was a gift. Can I just get a store credit for these? I take in like 3 pints a day to get $15 credit.
Yeah, you would be flagged all over town.
Well, there you go. That's Ben & Jerry's. I mean, I would ask you, we started doing this last week, if it's a brand that is on brand or off brand for you. I think obviously it's on brand for you.
Yes, Ben & Jerry's is very on brand for me. I love the freewheeling spirit. I love the hippie vibes. I love their ethics and the good stuff they're doing for the world. And I love the flavors. As I said, fish food is my favorite flavor. I love a chunky ice cream all chunked up with goodies.
Yeah, it's a great one. I'm sad that they got rid of the oatmeal one that I like. They have a new one now. It's not as good, but
it was like oatmeal cookie, right? So good. So John, is Ben & Jerry's on brand or off brand for you?
Obviously, it's on brand for me. I picked it because I already thought it was a fun brand. I think it's more interesting, and I love that I now connect with Ben, who is the richest of the two. And I feel like when our story plays out, I will also be the richer of the two.
I need to like check out the books at Ben & Jerry's. I don't trust it. I feel like Jerry got shafted and he did most of the work, but we'll look into it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Listen, you guys. My Insta egg this week was very easy, and there's a lot of you that I'm going to give a shout out to really quickly. I may have to start doing like the first 5 to get it right is going to get a shout out, because this was ridiculous. But I had a very hard time coming up with one for Copper Tone, so I will give you all a shout out. All right, here we go. Gina Brown, Janie Jones, Jillian Schulten, Stephen Ray Morris, our favorite, Sarah Jane, Michelle E., Dylan Hoyt, Danny Jean Crombie. And there's so many of you with 3 names. I mean, you're kind of pushing it. Jessica Geisler Biscaglia, Karen McElfresh, Deborah, Brittany Stewart Fogg, Eric Makes a Mess, Kara McGrady, halfway there, Amber Christensen Henderson, Ronnie, Vicky Miller Wilson, Samantha Cook, Ruby Hatton. There's no Corey Hatton this week. I hope they didn't get a divorce. I'm worried about those 2. I haven't heard from them for 2 weeks. I Get Hungry, Megan Murph, Lindsay Webb, Sarah Clevenger Art, Ashley Foss, Alex Hill, Aaron Powell, and finally, Dead Malls and Liminal Spaces, who is in the UK, and we had a very lovely messenger chat.
It seemed like you guys were flirting.
No, he's definitely, and we might have been. We were, right?
And I want to thank Nerd Underneath and Caesar Hino Josa 91 for writing us lovely 5-star reviews on Apple. The 5-star reviews on Apple, they make our day and they really help us out. You can check us out on Instagram at OnBrandThePod or TikTok at OnBrandThePodcast to see some more videos from the show and other fun stuff like that. And we will be back next week with an all new episode.
And all I want to say really quick about the more recent Apple reviews we've gotten, a lot of people begging for Trader Joe's insulated bags.
Interesting.
And
how that
someone,
happens.
I think it was even like, it's homophobic if I don't give them a bag. So I just want to say, nice try, guys. We'll see what happens. All right, that's all we got. And like always, we may go off topic, but we will always be on brand.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
On brand.